I never liked the house at the end of the street. It was old, dilapidated, and covered with vines and weeds. The windows were boarded up, the roof was sagging, and the paint was peeling off. It looked like a haunted house from a horror movie, and everyone in the neighborhood avoided it. But not me. I was curious. I wanted to see what was inside. I wanted to explore the secrets of the house. I wanted to prove that I was brave and adventurous. So one night, I decided to sneak out of my home and go to the house. I took a flashlight, a backpack, and a crowbar. I was ready for anything. I walked down the street, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. The night was dark and silent, except for the occasional sound of a car passing by or a dog barking. I reached the house and looked around. There was no sign of life, no light, no movement. I felt a chill run down my spine, but I ignored it. I was here for a reason. I went to the front door and tried to open it. It was locked, of course. I used the crowbar to pry it open, making a loud noise. I hoped no one heard me. I entered the house and closed the door behind me. I turned on my flashlight and looked around. The house was a mess. There was dust and dirt everywhere, cobwebs and mold on the walls, and broken furniture and trash on the floor. The air was stale and musty, and I could smell something rotten. I felt a wave of disgust, but I pushed it aside. I was here to explore, not to judge. I decided to start with the living room. I walked over to the fireplace and saw a pile of ashes and bones. I wondered what they were from. I saw a bookshelf next to the fireplace, and I went to check it out. There were some old books, magazines, and newspapers. I picked one up and read the date. It was from 1978. That was the year the house was abandoned, according to the rumors. I wondered what happened to the people who lived here. I put the book back and moved on to the next room. It was the kitchen. It was even worse than the living room. There were dishes and pots and pans piled up in the sink, covered with mold and maggots. There was a fridge in the corner, and I opened it. I immediately regretted it. There was a horrible smell and a sight that made me gag. There were rotten food and dead animals in the fridge, some of them half-eaten. I slammed the door shut and ran out of the kitchen. I decided to go upstairs. Maybe there was something more interesting there. I went to the staircase and climbed up. The stairs creaked and groaned under my weight, and I hoped they wouldn't collapse. I reached the second floor and saw a hallway with several doors. I chose one at random and opened it. It was a bedroom. It had a bed, a dresser, a closet, and a mirror. It looked like a normal bedroom, except for the blood. There was blood on the bed, on the floor, on the walls, and on the ceiling. There was blood everywhere. I felt a surge of fear, and I wondered what happened here. Who was killed here? How? Why? I wanted to leave, but something caught my eye. There was a photo on the dresser. I went to look at it. It was a family photo. There were 4 people in it. A man, a woman, a boy, and a girl. They looked happy and normal, smiling at the camera. They looked like the people who lived here. I felt a pang of pity, and I wondered what their names were. I picked up the photo and turned it over. There was something written on the back. It said, "We are the Smiths. We live in the house at the end of the street. We are happy and normal. We are not afraid of anything. We are not alone." I felt a cold hand touch my shoulder. I screamed and dropped the photo. I turned around and saw a face. It was the face of the man in the photo, but it was not the same. It was pale and twisted, with sunken eyes and a gaping mouth. It was the face of a ghost. He looked at me with a malicious grin and said, "Welcome to our house. We've been waiting for you. We are the Smiths. We live in the house at the end of the street. We are happy and normal. We are not afraid of anything. We are not alone, and neither are you." He laughed and grabbed me. I tried to fight him, but he was too strong. He dragged me to the bed and threw me on it. I saw the blood on the bed, and I realized it was mine. He had stabbed me with the crowbar. I felt a sharp pain in my chest, and I knew I was dying. He leaned over me and whispered in my ear, "You are our guest. You are our friend. You are our family. You will stay with us forever. You will never leave. You will never escape. You will never die. You will be one of us. You will be a smith. You will live in the house at the end of the street. You will be happy and normal. You will not be afraid of anything. You will not be alone." He smiled and kissed me. I felt his cold lips on mine, and I felt nothing else. I closed my eyes and waited for the end, but it never came. I always loved camping. There was something about being in nature, away from the noise and stress of the city, that made me feel alive and free. I enjoyed hiking, fishing, and sitting by the fire, listening to the sounds of the night. I never felt scared or lonely in the woods. I felt at home. That's why I decided to rent a cabin for a week, just for myself. I wanted to have some time alone to relax and recharge. I found a cabin online that looked perfect. It was in a remote area, surrounded by trees and a lake. It had all the basic amenities, but no internet or phone service. It was exactly what I needed. I packed my car with everything I needed: food, water, clothes, books, and a flashlight. I also brought my camera, hoping to capture some beautiful shots of the scenery. I drove for hours, following the directions I had printed out. The road became narrower and rougher until I reached a dirt path that led to the cabin. I parked my car and got out. The cabin was small and cozy, made of wood and stone. It had a porch, a chimney, and a window. It looked inviting and peaceful. I grabbed my bags and walked to the door. I unlocked it with the key I had received in the mail and entered the cabin. The inside was simple and rustic, but clean and comfortable. There was a living room with a fireplace, a sofa, and a table. There was a kitchen with a stove, a fridge, and a sink. There was a bathroom with a shower, a toilet, and a sink. And there was a bedroom with a bed, a dresser, and a closet. I smiled and felt a wave of happiness. This was perfect. I unpacked my bags and settled in. I made myself a sandwich and ate it on the porch, enjoying the view of the lake. I saw some birds, squirrels, and deer. I heard some crickets, frogs, and owls. I felt a gentle breeze and smelled the fresh air. I felt calm and relaxed. I decided to go for a walk around the lake, to explore the area and take some pictures. I grabbed my camera and my flashlight and headed out. The sun was setting and the sky was painted with orange and purple. It was beautiful. I walked along the shore, snapping photos of the water, the trees, and the sky. I felt a sense of wonder and awe. I reached the other side of the lake and saw a small clearing. There was a fire pit, some logs, and a tent. It looked like someone else was camping here. I wondered who they were and if they were friendly. I decided to go and say hello, maybe make some new friends. I approached the tent and called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" There was no answer. I waited for a few seconds and tried again. "Hello? I'm staying at the cabin across the lake. I just wanted to say hi." Still no answer. I felt a bit annoyed and a bit curious. I walked closer to the tent and peeked inside. There was no one there. The tent was empty, except for some sleeping bags, backpacks, and a lantern. I wondered where the campers were and why they had left their stuff behind. I looked around and saw some footprints leading into the woods. I guess they had gone for a hike and would be back soon. I decided to leave them a note to let them know I had stopped by. I took a piece of paper and a pen from my backpack and wrote, "Hi, I'm staying at the cabin across the lake. I saw your tent and wanted to say hello, but you weren't here. Maybe we can meet later and chat. I'll be here until next Sunday. Hope you're having fun. Your friendly neighbor." I folded the paper and placed it on the lantern. I hoped they would see it when they returned. I felt a bit silly, but also a bit hopeful. Maybe they would be nice and interesting, and we could have a good time together. I left the tent and walked back to the lake. The sun had gone down, and the moon had risen. It was bright and full, casting a silver light on the water. It was beautiful. I took some more pictures and then decided to head back to the cabin. It was getting dark and I was getting tired. I walked along the shore, following the path I had taken before. I turned on my flashlight to see better in the dark. I hummed a tune to keep myself company. I felt happy and relaxed. I reached the cabin and saw a light. It was coming from the window. I smiled and thought that maybe the campers had come to visit me. Maybe they had seen my note and wanted to say hello. I was glad and excited. I walked to the door and opened it. I screamed. There was blood. There was blood everywhere. On the floor, on the walls, on the ceiling. There was blood on the sofa, on the table, on the fireplace. There was blood on the stove, on the fridge, on the sink. There was blood on the shower, on the toilet, on the sink. There was blood on the bed, on the dresser, on the closet. There were bodies. There were bodies everywhere. They were the campers. They were the people who had stayed in the tent. They were the people I had wanted to meet. They were the people I had hoped to be friends with. They were dead. They were all dead. They had been killed. They had been butchered. They had been mutilated. They had been torn apart. They had been ripped to pieces. They were everywhere. They were in the living room, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, in the bedroom. They were on the sofa, on the table, on the fireplace. They were on the stove, on the fridge, on the sink. They were on the shower, on the toilet, on the sink. They were on the bed, on the dresser, on the closet. They were staring at me. They were staring at me with their dead eyes. They were staring at me with their bloody mouths. I never believed in ghosts until I moved into the old mansion on the hill. It was a bargain, too good to pass up. The previous owners had left in a hurry, leaving behind most of their belongings. They said they had to move for work, but I suspected there was more to it. The first night, I heard footsteps in the hallway. I thought it was a burglar, so I grabbed a baseball bat and went to investigate. But there was no one there. The second night, I heard a child's laughter coming from the attic. I climbed up the stairs, but the door was locked. I knocked, but there was no answer. The third night, I heard a woman scream coming from the basement. I ran down the stairs, but the door was jammed. I kicked, but it wouldn't budge. I decided to call a locksmith the next day, but he never showed up. He said his car broke down on the way, and he couldn't find a tow truck. He apologized and said he would come the following day, but he never did. He said he had a family emergency and he had to fly out of town. He said he was sorry and he would refund my money, but he never did. I started to feel uneasy in the house. I felt like I was being watched, like I was not alone. I saw shadows moving in the corners, heard whispers in the dark, felt cold breaths on my neck. I tried to ignore them, but they grew louder and more frequent. I tried to leave, but the doors and windows were locked. I tried to call for help, but the phone lines were dead. I tried to use my cell phone, but there was no signal. I was trapped. I realized that the house was haunted and that the ghosts wanted me to stay. They wanted me to join them, to be one of them. They wanted me to suffer, to die. They were angry and they were hungry. They came for me every night, tormenting me with their voices and their touch. They showed me their faces, twisted and grotesque. They told me their stories, how they died in the house, how they were murdered, how they were buried. They showed me their graves, hidden under the floorboards, behind the walls, in the backyard. They said they wanted revenge, and they wanted me to be their instrument. They said they wanted me to kill the next owners, the ones who would come after me. They said they had a plan, and they needed my help. They said they would spare me if I did what they asked. They said they would let me go if I did what they wanted. They lied. They never let me go. They never spared me. They never stopped. They only got worse. They only got stronger. They only got hungrier. They killed me. And now I'm one of them. And now I'm waiting for you.